Hey guys, Kevin with On Point Pro Styles in Gainesville, Georgia. It's one that I've been getting requests on. It's going to be a little bit more of an advanced shrinking video. Hatchback glass from a 2018 Honda Civic. I got a piece of film on it. I got it all set up. I got a camera. We're going to move over there and we're going to see if we can't get through some advanced shrinking. So let's get started. So here we are at the back glass. I've got this sitting on a body panel stand. So it's laying a little bit more flat, obviously, than it would be if it was on the vehicle. So that does make it a little bit more challenging, but this is gonna be about these heavy curves on the bottom, what to do about that. I like to lock my H-line down here as opposed to in the middle to just help it a little bit, because this is so curved. This isn't as bad, so it's a little bit easier to shrink up here, so I leave more up here and less down here. So anyways, let's get started. First thing you're gonna wanna note is I did not lock the sides down, because even the sides are really bubbly, and when I push that down, you can see just the amount of film that has to be shrunk out here. So get your heat gun on high. This is a dry shrink. I prepped the glass with a dryer sheet. Let it dry. I laid my film out and all I did was trim the sides. I left it long on the bottom and on the top. Most of the shrinking videos we've been through, if you look back at them or watch them, we talk about number one, first and foremost, tint only shrinks one way. It shrinks from the factory edges only. The pull side will not shrink, so you have to be aware of that pull side. But you want to shrink as close to that as you can to get some of this bunching out. Now instead of just push, let me get my card out. Now instead of just shrinking a little and pushing it down, shrinking a little and pushing it down like we're all used to seeing, we're going to use a little bit of pull shrinking on this to help us keep the film pulled taut so that we can get the film shrunk down without it bunching up. It's really difficult to just keep heating, and you get up into a big bunch, and that heat's just going to overheat the film. Second thing to think about is when you have this much to heat, the hotter the film gets, the faster it's going to want to melt or crease or something like that. So take your time with it, and if you feel like it's starting to get soft, more heat makes it more soft, and when it's more soft, that's when you have problems with it. Walk away, do another corner, come back to it after it cools down a little bit. But we're gonna start on this bottom section here in just the old-fashioned way. We'll get us a little bit laid down. Another thing I'm gonna talk about is what you're looking for. I'm hoping I'm expressing this in the video as best I can based on what I've got. So as you're shrinking, you're seeing these peaks and valleys, peaks, valleys, peaks, valleys. Don't concentrate so much on the tips of the peaks. You're kind of wanting to go past them and down the side of them, and you'll see the tint create a curve like this. And that's what you want to see, but you got to make sure you push that stuff down. Another thing to note, I'll go ahead and say, this whole middle section gets cut out on this car. So we're really going to concentrate on shrinking down these sides, because we're going to cut off all this extra in the middle. So we're going to want to try to push some of that film that way. So again, we'll shrink the top portion here just a little bit, and I'm going as close to the side as I can, within reason. Shrinking it right down to that real hump part. There's that hole that I don't have to worry about. So here, I can see it's tightening up real tight right here. We've got a finger popping off this way. The film needs to come down. So this is where our pull shrinking is going to come in. Now I'm not going to grab the film and tug it hard enough to pull this glass off the stand. What I'm doing is pulling the film so that it creates tension, so that as I'm heating, you apply some heat to it and just let it naturally, you'll start to see the lines. So you're just grabbing it, 2 fingers is all it takes. Grab it, apply some heat, and move back and forth. It takes some time, don't rush it. I will never produce I say that and I hope I don't ever change my mind, but I will never produce a video making it seem as if I am trying to speed through anything, because that's when mistakes happen. Mistakes cost you time. Time is money. I have a very good tack on this glass, but we're just going to keep going with it. So our matrix line is right here. So you're literally, don't push yourself any further than you have to. Get it to that matrix line and call it a day. So you're pulling, all you're doing is organizing the film downward, applying some heat, and that's allowing the film to pull together. But keep your heat gun at a distance. Don't apply too much heat. Now I can feel the tint getting a little soft, and that's where you risk running a crease. So I'm gonna just leave it as it is. I've got literally very little to go to get this shrunk out. The line's right here. So I'm gonna leave that there, and I'm gonna come up to this top portion. Even though it's more flat, you can see there's still a lot to shrink here. So we're gonna start off like we normally do. You see I'm creating a line. And I'm shrinking, I keep my card and I bump the edge to just keep that film moving downward, but I'll get it as close to the edge as I can so that I can shrink more of the film out. We're looking for those smileys. When you see those smileys, bump those down. So we've got a peak here. The peak's going up like this. So I'm gonna blow heat on the side of that peak. Not on the top, on the side, and you'll start to see these lines. Lines. Tighten them up, lines. Tighten them up, tighten them up. Don't go much further than the middle, because you don't want to create a big old tension line on the other side. Makes it tougher to shrink the other side. So I see it's getting real bunched and it wants to valley into the side right here. So same thing, I'm gonna pull on it just a little, and I'm looking for that line like this. And now in the corner, because it's still bunched here, instead of pulling like this and leaving this bunch, I'm pulling a little bit that way, just a little, not much. And you see it kind of creates a curve like this. So we'll push that out to the side, push all these lines up. Now we've got all our bunched film here, so we're gonna do the same thing, a little bit of pull shrinking. So I'm gonna start over here toward the middle, add a little heat, look for that line, add a little heat, add a little heat. You can basically see the film just kind of laying down with these tension lines. Those are the tension lines you want, because that means the film is pulled together. I'm getting in a dangerous spot here because I'm talking too much and not laying the film down like I should. So as you're going, make sure you push that stuff down so it stays tacked to the glass. So same thing here, my top line is right here, so we have to just make it past that top line. So I'm gonna shrink this corner, whoops, to where I can press that down past that line. Now I've got this pressed down, I'm gonna concentrate on this valley here. I need more tack on this glass. And you can see once you start to get it past that point, you're golden. So it's a little bunched up here. It's like a peak right here. So I'm gonna pull on that, add a little heat, pull next to it, add a little heat. I'm moving about an inch over, adding a little heat, adding a little heat. I'm right toward the middle, so I don't want to go much past that. That shrunk. We're cutting it right here. Cut, cut, cut. Now I know this is cooled down, so add a little heat, and it's gonna get soft fast. So remember that. Add a little heat, push it down. Add a little heat, push it down. See where our holes are? This is where the center section gets cut out. But this is where I cut it off, way up here. Let's do the other side. So now I almost just kept going and didn't explain this part, but I just have a habit of kind of just organizing things toward the top before I get started, so I could just easily start to shrink on it. So I've got me a little bunch right here, so I'm gonna blow some heat. There's my smiley right here. So we've got a peak here and a smiley here. So I'm gonna blow some heat right here along the side of that little smiley, and you'll see it curves right on down. Got another peak here. So we're gonna blow some heat on the side of it and kind of past it, lay that down, push it down. Another peak here, push it down. Right here is where it's starting to bunch up like it did on the other side. So we're gonna pull the film up, add some heat. We've got these tension lines here, so these are gonna be our peaks. So you wanna heat those down, get them to relax. Way past the matrix there. So let's finish off this corner. So anyways, I'm way past it's curling up because it's so tight in these corners. That's why it's pulling back off the glass. So we're way past our matrix line. We're good there. We're way past here. Here I am playing. So now the dreaded bottom part. You see I'm creating kind of a spot here in the middle, because again, this is all cut off. Comes down here, comes down here. So let's get this started. I'll do some pushing first. And you hear people talk about pushing and pulling. This is the push method. You're adding some heat and then pushing it down. Now that's where it starts to bunch and you can't get past because it's just too much film, so you gotta pull on it. Another thing, if you feel like the tint's starting to prematurely stick to the glass, pick it back up. You see this little bunch right here? Our line is right here, so we're golden there too. So leaving just a tiny bit on the side isn't that big a deal. You could push that down and shrink it out just a little bit more, but we're gonna leave it. It's golden. I really wanted to just kind of show you or get you started with the advanced techniques such as pole shrinking. Pole shrinking, it's a little harder to see the film actually shrink unless you're making sure that you're kind of pulling a little tension and releasing a little tension so that when you release that tension, you can see those tension lines. Tint, tools, and everything, tintdepot.com. If you're not there, check them out. If you're buying from them, thanks for the support. Everything you need from the ground up help to starting your business, recommended tools, all the tools you'll need, top tier premium films. If you need any help, reach out to me. Reach out to them if you have any questions. Kevin Rogers, On Point Pro Styles in Gainesville, Georgia. See you on the next one.